My mom wants to have a talk after kicking me out 2 years ago in favor of her boyfriend who bullied me in high school. My dad passed away when I was really little, just 1 year old. So for as long as I can remember, it's just been my mom and me, kind of like a small superhero team. We were always really close, and I depended a lot on her, especially as I started growing up. By the time I got to my sophomore year in high school, we were super tight, like best friends. Things took a turn when my mom landed a part-time job as a gym teacher at my high school. At first, I was all for it because she was excited about the job, and I wanted to support her. But honestly, it started getting pretty awkward for me at school. Some of the guys started making comments about my mom's looks, which made me super uncomfortable. It's tough enough just being a teenager, but having your classmates comment on your mom's appearance is next level awkward. Worse still, there was this guy, Brad. He was the typical school bully and seemed to have a knack for making my life miserable. With my mom working at the school, Brad found a whole new way to tease me. He'd throw weird and inappropriate comments my way about her, and it was just the worst. Brad was a senior when I was a junior, so I was counting days for him to graduate, thinking that would be the end of it. I was wrong, though. Even after he left, my troubles didn't quite end. When I became a senior, things at home started to change too. My mom began to go out a lot. At first, I was really happy for her. Everyone deserves to have fun, and I hoped she might meet someone great. But as time went on, she was out so frequently that our time together became really rare. I started feeling a bit left out. It seemed like every time I wanted to hang out or do something together, she already had plans. I kept my feelings to myself because I didn't want to seem needy or clingy. It hurt, though, especially when she missed my birthday because she was out all night. She tried to apologize the next day, and even though I was upset, I just brushed it off and told her it was okay. After about 6 months of this going on, where it felt like she was just totally doing her own thing, and I was just living alongside that, not really a part of it, I reached a tipping point. I missed how close we used to be and felt like we were becoming strangers. So I asked her if we could maybe have a dinner together, just the two of us, hoping we could reconnect. Her response was that she was too busy. That really stung. I couldn't keep my feelings bottled up any longer and confronted her about feeling like she was ignoring me. She insisted that wasn't the case and said she had her own life to live. That response hurt me deeply. Out of anger and frustration, I started to give her the cold shoulder. I ignored her for a few days, hoping maybe she'd realize how much her absence was affecting me. But those days passed, and the tension just seemed to build, leaving things between us pretty strained. My mom came up to me one day and said she was really sorry for everything, but she also said she had something super important to tell me. She wanted me to meet her boyfriend over dinner. From the way she sounded, it seemed like she wasn't too happy about it, almost like she didn't want to do it at all. When the doorbell rang, she opened the door, and there he was. You wouldn't believe who stood there. It was Brad, the same guy who made my life miserable in school. I nearly lost it. I looked at my mom and was like, "Why is he here?" Brad stepped up, trying to smooth things over. He said he knew it was weird for me, but he was sorry for being so mean back in school, and he really cared about my mom. My mom asked us to sit down so she could explain everything, but I was so upset I shouted, "I don't care about any explanations!" I told her she had pushed me aside for someone terrible, and I called her a really bad mom. When I insulted Brad, she defended him, saying I shouldn't say things like that. She told me she tried to make things less awkward by keeping their relationship a secret from me. Then she dropped a bombshell. Like it or not, Brad's going to be around. She even said if I didn't like it, I could just leave. That was the last straw for me. I packed up my things right then and called my grandma to tell her what was going on. Grandma came over fast, and she and my mom ended up having a huge argument. After that, I just left with my grandma. My mom tried to get in touch with me for weeks after that, but I blocked her calls. She even came to see me, but I was so hurt that I called the cops. Eventually, she stopped trying to contact me. It's been 2 years since I last heard from her. Then, out of the blue, she called me yesterday saying we needed to meet because it was urgent. Now I'm stuck, not sure if I should go meet her or not. Now for the top of comments before reading the update. Very creepy. Your mom is dating someone your age who was presumably her student. Seems like an inappropriate relationship before you even consider he bully you. If you feel comfortable going to see her, then maybe you and grandma can both go together. Otherwise, just tell her she can talk to you on the phone or message, etc. My grandma offered to come with me. She can tell you over the phone. It's probably going to be some sob story about how Brad left her and how she now realizes she was wrong and blah, blah, blah. Now for the update. Well, curiosity got the best of me. There was also a burning desire to unload on her. I finally texted back my mom asking, "Where should we meet?" She said we could meet for lunch at the restaurant at 12 p.m. I didn't have any class today, so I was good to go. When I arrived at the restaurant, I heard some woman scream my name. It was my mom, who I haven't seen for 2 years. She asked how was I and said she would hug me, but said she knew I would reject it. Her voice was shaking when she asked me to follow her to her table. Unsurprisingly, Brad was sitting there. He didn't even look me in the eye as we sat down. He just nodded his head, as if to simply acknowledge my arrival. As my mom sat down, she started shooting out multiple questions. What you've been up to? Are you in school? How's it going? I got annoyed and told her, stop wasting my time with these questions. What do you want from me? She responded, well, before we tell you, can we explain how all of this happened? I said, sure. For those of you asking me to get her ass in trouble with the school board, I hate to break it to you, but they never interacted with each other when Brad was in school. Brad only knew about her because his friends would take pictures of her before gym class started and share them with everyone. It was Brad who approached her at a bar. She didn't recognize him, so he told her he went to the high school she works at and graduated recently. My mom was lonely and jokingly told them she wouldn't tell anyone that he wasn't 21 as long as he hung out with her. They exchanged numbers and made a promise to hang out with each other. She said she knew that I wouldn't be comfortable with her seeing a peer of mine, so she kept it a secret and convinced herself it was going to be a short and casual relationship. Eventually, the relationship got serious when she was hanging out at his house. She asked him about introducing him to me. He told her it wasn't a good idea. She responded by saying, I'll get over the age gap relationship. He was forced to come clean about the relationship I had with him in high school. That's when my mom started tearing up and her voice was shaking. She said she was in shock about what she had done. She couldn't sleep at night because of the guilt. She couldn't even look at me without feeling immense guilt. She had him blocked on her phone. After a week, he sent him a message on Facebook to at least meet him once. She obliged. He showed up with roses and begged for forgiveness. He even said he'll apologize to me in person and that he's a changed person. She took him back. The next was the day she invited him to dinner. My mom burst into tears and begged me to forgive her for hurting me. She then said, these 2 years have been painful for her. Finally, Brad spoke and admitted she misses you like crazy, dude. She still needs you in her life. My mom said I am sorry for being an awful mother. We want to make it up to you. We're moving to California, and we want you to come with us. We will foot the bill for your education and everything else. You won't have to work at all. You'll have a permanent place in our home. I don't know what the hell came to me, but I started laughing like crazy, like a madman. It was the most ridiculous proposition. Now this is what makes me the monster. This is what I really came there for. After I calmed down, this is what I said to her. Mom, you must be the most delusional. See if you think I'll ever forgive you. You were dead to me for good. The only acknowledgement you'll get from me is me pissing on your grave when you pass away. Then she was hysterically crying. I got up from the table and left the restaurant only a minute after walking to the parking lot. I hear my mom screaming and Brad to stop following me. I really wanted this confrontation. The moment he grabs my shirt, I turn around and sucker punch him in the face. He drops on the robe with his mouth bleeding. My mom comes to physically restrain him from hurting me until he calms down. I told them, this is what I think about your proposal. It's been 4 hours now after the incident. I know deep down I should be ashamed of myself, but I feel amazing inside. I don't know if adrenaline can last that long. It feel like I took my power back. What does a guy do that's only a year older than you to make that kind of money to pay your college? If it's your mom, wouldn't she already asterisk have that saved or set up? Just weird op. I don't know what job Brad has. My mom, on the other hand, has been saving up money ever since my father passed. I remember telling of me if I got a good grade, she'll take out a loan for me to pay for my school and pay it back herself.